Botting is an issue that has plagued MMOs forever. This is also a bit of a controversial topic, as some people love using bots or love having them in their game, whereas others absolutely hate them and want game companies to dedicate most of their resources to preventing botting from happening. Alongside that, botting happens in a wide variety of different ways, and botting has a wide variety of different impacts on games. Some are incredibly minimal, and some are major. To say that this topic is complex might be a bit of an understatement, but let's go ahead and dive into this conversation. To briefly describe what botting is to people who don't know, in simple terms, it is using software to play a video game in place of a human. This ranges in complexity from having a program that will press a single button on a timer to incredibly complex programs and everything in between. As someone who has played many different MMOs over the years, I have experienced botting in most of the ones I have played. Of course, there are a couple that I don't remember seeing bots in, but after doing a quick Google search, I was able to find people talking about this in each of those games. Today, I want to talk about two specific MMOs that I have been playing a lot of recently, World of Warcraft Classic and Guild Wars 2. But of course, the ideas that I talk about are going to be applicable to pretty much every MMO. It's just that I'm going to use these two as a case study, and I have a lot of recent experience interacting with botting in these two games. As always, check the description or hover over the video if you want to skip to a specific part. Let's start with WoW Classic. When we look at botting in Classic WoW, we can really divide it into two categories, PvE and PvP. Botting has a major impact on these game modes in a variety of different ways. To start with PvE, we see botting occur predominantly in the open world and in dungeons. The primary objective for bots here is to basically farm gold for the person running the program to use or to sell to other players, something that is against the WoW EULA. When it comes to gameplay disturbances from the act of botting itself, dungeon bots don't have too big of an impact on other players, but open world botting can have a minor impact, where if a bot is in an area killing mobs you need to kill for a quest, it can be harder to complete the quest. Or if you kill a mob and are about to skin it, the bot can snag it from you, though any skinner will probably be used to this from how other players play the game. Or bots may roam around the map searching for herbs and mineral veins to harvest, making it much more difficult for you to gather the materials you need to sell for gold or use in crafting. Bots can also have a direct impact on a server's economy, where different prices and item supplies are going to be manipulated by bots. This has an impact on everyone, even people who never see a bot. When we turn away from PvE and start looking at PvP, we have what I view as an even bigger issue. A lot of bots play PvP not for the rewards that you can earn in PvP, but to level up their characters in order to farm things at a higher level out in PvE, either in the open world or in instances. And one's experience with bots in a PvP match can vary drastically. Sometimes you will not experience bots at all in PvP. Sometimes there may be one you don't notice, or sometimes a large percentage of one or both teams may be made up of bots. Some people speculate that there might be PvP matches happening that are entirely composed of bots. This brings forth the idea of the saying, translated to this topic, that if a PvP match happens with no players in it, did the PvP match ever happen? But having bots in a PvP match can just straight up ruin it for a lot of players, and it can be ruined from both sides of the idea of bots being overpowered and also worthless at the same time. Most bots are Death Knights, and a lot of the time bots in a single match are running the same botting software. It is always frustrating to be death gripped and icy touched by 17 Death Knights at the exact same time. There's not much you can do to counter them if you're ever in range of one. Then on the other side, those 17 bots aren't really doing anything to win the match, meaning the match could be a 40 versus 23 player match, which isn't fun for anyone. Modern day PvP in World of Warcraft definitely has a lot of issues, and the existence of botting does not help the situation at all, where botting in World of Warcraft in general can just cause a frustrating experience for other players and make the game less enjoyable. Plus, botting supports other issues in the game, such as the problematic nature of GTKPs, where most people pay real-life money to buy gold from botters in order to buy raid items from other players, supporting the bots that exist in the game that are causing gameplay disruptions around the world, while also making the game kind of a pay-to-win game. This also drastically inflates the in-game economy, making it very difficult for people who don't buy gold to participate in that economy. Switching gears from World of Warcraft, let's look at Guild Wars 2. Botting in this game is rampant, but takes place in a significantly unique way compared to World of Warcraft, where most botting in World of Warcraft is done by a few people who are using more complex programs and are selling gold to other players. In Guild Wars 2, more people are botting, and it's done by the average person trying to make money for themselves, and the way that people bot is through simple scripts that are just abusing game mechanics, where Guild Wars 2 has quite a few skills that allow you to earn gold without being at your computer. You have engineer turrets, necromancer pets, and so on, which you only have to use every now and then and will fight mobs around you. If you can find a place in the world where there are a decent amount of mobs that your pets and whatnot can deal with by themselves, you can just AFK there and make money from your pets killing things. This can be taken further by running a script to use the skills on a certain interval, use other skills, and to press the loot key to pick up items if the account doesn't have auto loot unlocked. Which a lot of accounts doing this are actually pretty basic accounts that don't have much unlocked, where a lot of people will buy multiple accounts, sometimes on sale, or sometimes from free keys they find on shady websites, and run all of these accounts at the same time to generate gold. Back in the day, which is like 2 months ago, these accounts would generate a lot of gold from daily logins as well, but now that is gone, so they have to rely on AFK farming. I've had the unfortunate experience of interacting with multiple people who coincidentally are pretty toxic and not good at the game, who have upwards of 100 accounts each that are generating gold for their main account. But of course, not every single person who AFK farms is inherently a toxic person because it's really widespread. A lot of the resources and gold that are being generated in the Guild Wars 2 economy are generated by people botting. A lot of prize pools for community events are only possible because of AFK farming, either knowingly by the organizers who are AFK farming themselves for the prize pool, or unknowingly by community contributions that end up being created from botting or other exploits. And honestly, why shouldn't they? Botting in Guild Wars 2 isn't penalized, you are unlikely to get banned for doing it, and you can make such an obscene amount of money from doing it. But why shouldn't they? Botting generates so much gold for players. They don't even have to play the game because they can just bot and buy whatever they want. Special armor skins, a Harvest Temple Challenge mode title clear, full raid legendary armor, and so on. But that's not really an issue with AFK farming itself. Players can swipe their credit card for more accounts to AFK with, but they can also swipe their credit card for gems and do the same thing. So unless we remove gems, people are still going to buy Harvest Temple titles and whatnot. But there are two central issues with AFK farming that have a few offshoot issues alongside them. The first is the space that bots take up in the world. Because there are a lot of bots, you can find a lot of bots out in the world. For new players coming into the game, this can be very jarring to see. 20 necromancers in a random corner of the world, well, those are bots. And that's kind of a bad taste for new players, but also for all players, that's a slot in the world that is being taken up by bots. If they are in a map that you want to have a lot of players in, like for a meta, it can make it harder to get enough players in the map for that meta because of the bots taking the spot. Additionally, do you really want to explore the world of Tyria and suddenly come across a bunch of bots sitting in a field? For some, it's immersion breaking. For some, it's frustrating to look at because it's kind of idiotic, and then lots of people have different emotions and frustrations towards AFK farmers. But the more critical issue is the impact that AFK bots have on the game's economy. With the existence of AFK farmers who are killing random mobs for random resources hours on end, they are getting drops from mobs, and they sell those drops on the trading post for gold to spend on whatever they want. If you look across the trading post, we can see drops in the value of different crafting items that are items that a lot of AFK farmers are getting. Vial of Thin Blood, worth less now than it was 3 years ago. Pile of Shimmering Dust, worth less than it was 2 years ago. Pile of Glittering Dust, worth less than it was 2 years ago. Small Fang, worth less than it was 2 years ago. Pile of Radiant Dust, worth less than it was 2 years ago. Small Scale, worth less than it was 2 years ago. Thin Leather Section, worth less than it was 3 years ago. Coarse Leather Section, Thick Leather Section, Pile of Incandescent Dust, Pile of Luminous Dust, Wool Scrap, Linen Scrap, Heavy Bone, and so on and so forth. So many different basic crafting materials have diminished in price over the years. Some are more stable because of new recipes demanding so many of these materials, but overall, you can see a general trend in the economy. We saw Mystic Coins diminish in cost because of how many were being added into the economy by these AFK farmers, and other people having so many odd accounts that they have purchased, and with the removal of daily login rewards, we have seen the value of Mystic Coins begin to climb again. But what does mats being valued at a lower price mean for the average player? It means less gold in their pockets. Where if you have done metas over the years, you have slowly made less and less gold from these materials than you have in the past, which means players trying to legitimately make gold are being punished because players are botting in random corners of the world, and I find that to be an unfortunate situation. Where fortunately, you can still make a decent amount of money from doing metas where these various items aren't worthless yet, but there may come a time when you can buy a vial of Thin Blood for a few coppers if too many enter the economy, which is good for people who want to buy vials of Thin Blood and make their money via other means, but bad for players who want to make money by selling vials of Thin Blood. I think one additional point can be said for people ruining the game for themselves. When you swipe your credit card for a bunch of alt accounts and set them up to AFK farm for you to generate a ton of gold, and then you use that gold to buy the Harvest Temple Challenge mode title and other items, or you use that gold to buy your way into a top rating guild and then get carried by the people around you, how much fun are you really having? How long are you going to have fun for before you're bored of it? It just feels like you're ruining the game for yourself while also ruining it for others. And I think overall, we have seen the impact that AFK farming in Guild Wars 2 has on the game, be it bad press on social media, new players being disinterested in the game, rich people getting bored quickly, or the economy beginning to weaken, and it's very likely that this is going to continue in the future, just like how botting in World of Warcraft is going to continue in the future. There is an incentive, a financial incentive even, to bot. Looking back at World of Warcraft, Blizzard has a financial incentive as well to allow bots to continue to operate. Each bot pays a subscription fee, and if you ban them in waves after they have purchased subscriptions, they buy accounts and boosts as well. Where in reality, there is a discussion about the long-term incentive for Blizzard. Sure, bots are giving them money in the immediate future, but if players are driven away from the game, there is not going to be much of a player population paying a subscription fee, where alongside that, if there is no market for bots, bots are going to abandon the game as well, and at that point, the servers are just deserted. But that would require for players to actually give up on the game, where a lot of people have, but a lot of people still continue to play the game, where a lot of those players rely on bots in order to play the game. How else are you supposed to get all the best gear in the game without swiping a credit card? Actually play the game? But when it comes to me, I think I just don't care too much anymore. I've become more pessimistic of online games in recent years, and I think botting is just another thing that comes with most online games. You are always going to come across cheaters in games, you are always going to come across bots. When it comes to World of Warcraft, I get frustrated when I encounter bots in a PvP match, but because of the variety of issues with PvP in World of Warcraft, I don't play it too much anymore. And when it comes to PvE, I don't have much interest in dungeons or raids or playing the economy, so it doesn't have too much of an impact on me. And when I encounter bots in the open world, it's super annoying, but I can often just work around their scripts to complete quests, and I'm not trying to gather harvest nodes anymore anyways. In Guild Wars 2, I feel similar. Sure, people in guilds have thousands upon thousands of accounts AFK farming for gold, but I just don't care that much anymore. It would be incredible to see a solution to this, but as long as people have the ability to play the game the least and in the easiest way, they are going to. That's just how a lot of people are nowadays. It frustrates me to see maps filled with bots when I'm just trying to play the game, but I still enjoy Guild Wars 2 beyond them, where fortunately, they mostly stick to older zones that I play less of. And when it comes to the economy, I'll just continue to play around it. I make plenty of gold from actually playing the game that I don't feel pressured by the loss of gold from materials. Thank you for listening to my rant about botting in MMOs. This is kinda just an issue that has existed for a long time, has become more prevalent in the last few years, and will likely never go away. For me, it's kinda just something that I've accepted and tried to ignore about playing games. But when you look at the long-term health of the genre and individual games, there may be some serious ramifications of botting because of all the issues I've described throughout this video. This video was mostly just a jumbled mess of a rant and of my opinions about the topic. If you have thoughts about botting, feel free to leave them down in the description. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.